It's quiet right now. Like I have to find it right now. Right now I have silence. You control your tinnitus. Your tinnitus does not control you.
Lisa, can you explain the first tools that you found that did provide some relief, that they did provide some benefit in reducing your tinnitus or your perception of it?
Yep. So I've always had a low level baseline tinnitus for as long as I can remember, probably since my teens, right? Which I attribute to loud rock concerts, blaring the music in the car, not protecting my ears through loud events. So I've always had this kind of sound that lives in the background. I call it, the refrigerator is running or low level power lines or something like that. And I never thought anything of it because I just assumed that that's the noise that the world makes. I thought that, the world just makes a sound. And then I also have migraines, which is another key component. So the migraines were starting to kind of exacerbate as well with the stress. So started going to the doctors and talking about the changes in the migraines, and the tinnitus was inching its way up a bit, right? So, stress levels, it was kind of getting louder, but I still wasn't paying attention to it. So went to the doctor said, okay, go to physical therapy, go get a hearing test, go see, go start figuring out your migraine. We'll figure out your migraines and why they're kind of increasing a bit. Went to the ENT, had the good old MRI, told there was nothing you can do. She handed me a 1-page pamphlet from the American Tinnitus Association and said, here's some resources, here's your pamphlet, good luck to you. So when this really kind of started blaring off the hook for me, it was last September 2023, and I was, I'm a busy audit and accounting executive, and I was also taking on a hobby that was physically and mentally taxing. And so I was fully engaged in both of those things. And at the same time, the hobby kind of caused some inflammation in my rotator cuff. So I was taking daily anti-inflammatories and trying to get the pain. So I started going to physical therapy. So when I was working with the physical therapist, I went in one week and I'm like, my neck is killing me. I can't turn my head. It's, I'm all jacked up. So she started doing deep muscle massages in my neck, the back of my head and my jaw. So deep that, it calmed me down and it really relaxed me. And that was the first time when I left the office that I had silence. It was so strange. I was going in at a level 8, 9, 10, and then she just did this amazing massage, and then I left in silence. So then it was like, all right, so there's a correlation between my neck and the tinnitus. And so she was doing that like 2 or 3 times a week, and I would get moments of silence and then larger chunks of silence, but then it would, fluctuate back up. So I'm starting to put together this kind of connection between the neck and the head and then, tinnitus. I also had done a bunch of other tests. I did like spine x-ray, allergy testing, neurology, CAT scan. Funny enough, when I went to see the neurologist, I mentioned the migraines and the tinnitus, and he said, well, I have tinnitus too. You just have to live with it. I'm like, that's weird. Like, you have it too. So the first thing that really brought some relief was the physical therapy and the massaging of the neck.
Lisa, I wanted to ask, now that you've achieved a significant reduction in your tinnitus, what is some advice or knowledge that you wish you knew at the beginning when you had that first ENT appointment looking for help?
So what I wished I knew at the beginning was, number one, where the experts are. Who are the experts, right? And what you have to do to fix this, what you have to do to get this done. If hundreds of millions of people are living with this, how do they live with it, right? My message to everyone listening and watching this right now is that you control your tinnitus. Your tinnitus doesn't control you, right? This isn't magic. This is actual physiological changes that you're creating within yourself by putting in the work and working with the experts and creating those neural pathways and creating the mind body. It's not magic. It's actual physiological scientific changes that you're creating. You have the power to change your own situation and progress to habituation. I went from a sound level of 10 to silence, or, a 0.5 within less than 3 months. And the only time I have a little bit of noise now is when I get headaches, which, I'm actively still working on remediating. So I guess my overall message is don't let this get you down. You have the power, you have the control, and this is doable, and better days are ahead for you.
And what are those challenges that might come up along the way during the treatment period? The roadblocks, the difficulties. What did you face there, and what do you recommend to others?
So everybody's biology and everybody's root cause is going to be different. For me, the roadblocks were just finding out what the right tools were for me personally. What works for me might not work for somebody else. If they've got somatic tinnitus, if they have some other, something that it's attributed to that's different than for me. But I mean, roadblocks are really just the lack of information and the lack of available resources to people. Like being handed a pamphlet and saying, here's a pamphlet, like go check the American Tinnitus Foundation, like that was a roadblock. But don't give up. Keep searching because the experts are out there.
I want to know how the tinnitus treatment that you underwent changed your day-to-day, changed your life, frankly, from I'm struggling with this, it's affecting A, B, and C, to wow, now I'm a lot better. Things are restored to near normal. Tell us about that in your life, how the treatment affected it.
Yep. So you had somebody named Randy on your website, and Randy really hit home for me, when I was at the worst, at the level 10, and I watched Randy, and he said, I was at the point where I was thinking, what is going to become of me? What is going to become of my life? And that's where I was like, what is this? What is going to become of me? Am I going to need to stop working? Is my social life going to change? So all of that at the beginning, like I wasn't going to social events. I missed some family events that were kind of big and important and fun because the headaches and the tinnitus were an impact. But now, I mean, doing the work, like I don't not do anything anymore. I consider it kind of a 3-month blip where I just took a break from things that I love to do. And now, I'm back doing everything I did before.
When doctors say, look, you came into my clinic, you have a bit of hearing loss, but there's no cure for tinnitus, so you just have to live with it. What is a better message? Obviously, that message is broken, but in your opinion, what would be a more realistic or appropriate message to patients?
A more realistic message to patients would be that there's nothing you can do about it. There is stuff that you can do about it. And I would love it if healthcare providers took the time to know what the options are and could say, you can do this, you can do that, you can do these things. Not just you have to live with it. That causes stress, that causes anxiety, that causes lack of hope, right? I would love for all healthcare providers or ones that are in the realm of this to know what the options are. Like, why would an ENT not know that sound therapy exists, that, mind-body work exists? Like, that's what I would want for all of the healthcare providers.
Can you summarize what it felt like to go through the neuroplasticity process of reducing tinnitus over time? Often it's very small steps and small changes, but talk to me about how you noticed the improvements as time passed.
Yep. So I think I was wearing the maskers, every day religiously it was longer than the 4 to 6 hours. I think I was using them for the whole day, the whole working day. The maskers are little hearing aid looking devices, and they sit inside your ear canal, and they kind of sit over the top of your head. So just like a hearing aid. And it delivers a consistent noise, real noise, to the ears, and it's customized and programmed to your specific tinnitus sound. So for me, I mentioned to Dr. Suzanne that sounds of running water, like the tin roof rain or like the sink or the shower, that's what kind of covers it for me and masks it, so to speak. And she programmed, spot on a couple different sounds that masked it for me. And she also programmed in like ocean waves, which are calming. And over the course of maybe the first week, a little bit of, volume coming down. Second week, the volume was coming down more and more. And I noticed that I was turning the volume down on the maskers, and I was putting them in later and later in the day. So where I would put them in at like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. when I was starting the workday, I was going, not remembering to put them in until, 11, 12, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or, I'd even forget and I'd be like, I have silence today, but oh, wait, I have to use my maskers because I'm still fixing my neural pathways and making those neural pathways really strong and solidifying them. So it was this gradual, like first I was turning the sound down on the maskers, and then I was putting them in or using them later and later as the day went by. So yeah, for me, it was the sound was coming down. I wasn't relying on them anymore. And then when I did have a little bit of a fluctuation, I could put them in, and it was like instant calm. I could just feel the stress, like the noise and the stress, because I just had my like telling me, it's okay.
For those who are looking for help, for those who have been told by doctors there's not much they can do, what would you recommend for their next steps? Getting connected with someone who can help them, or using a certain product, or recommending a certain tool? What would be those next steps for someone who says, look, Lisa, I agree with you. What should I do?
I definitely recommend seeing if you can determine a root cause for the tinnitus. And if you can determine the root cause of the tinnitus, work on that with a healthcare professional. So I'm treating my headaches and my migraines through acupuncture. So I have a combination of Treble Health and acupuncture. That's my care team right now for this. So find out if you can determine a root cause and work on the root cause, number one. And then, of course, find the experts, the tinnitus experts, which is Treble Health. They're the experts. The stress comes down. The second I connected with Treble Health, the stress came down, the sound came down. I found my experts.
And where are you today with your tinnitus?
It's quiet right now. If I think about it, even if I think about it, like I have to find it right now. So yeah, I mean, right now I have silence. By the end of the day, it might pick up to like a 0.5 or a 1. Like I'm actively searching for it right now and I can't find it. I'm looking around like it's in my house somewhere. And then, so that's on non-headache days. When I have headaches, it can go up to a 4 or 5 or 6 even. And I always liken it to, so when I have my headache days, it's multiple sounds, multiple volumes, multiple tones, both ears, in the front, in the back. I liken it to a really bad middle school band just following me around. And having that visual kind of takes the edge off. That silly visual of the really bad middle school band following me around takes the edge off, because I know once the headache goes away, the MO is just to abate the headache. Once the headache goes away, the middle school band is just going to go back to class and leave me alone until, whatever triggers a headache. Also, I use humor. I inject humor. You have to have a sense of humor to get through this. I know it's a horrible, horrible thing. I had a really good excuse for backing out of things that I didn't want to do. I could say, "Oh, I'm having a tough day today," even if I wasn't, even if I was fine. I'd have an excuse, "Oh, I'm having a bad day. I can't go to that, or I don't want to do that," or something to that effect. So,
well, your treatment has been an inspiration to us here at Treble Health. And for those of us watching on YouTube, if this video has been helpful, please comment on YouTube helpful. And if you'd like to schedule a consultation with a Treble Health audiologist, you can sign up for that by checking out the link below here on YouTube. No charge, no obligation. It's a great first step for many folks. If you're also looking to figure out your root cause, that consultation is a great way to speak with an expert who can take all the information, all the data, all the tests, and present some options for you from our independent professional opinion. Lisa, I want to give you an opportunity to share some last words to our community. You've already given us a clear map of what you've tried, what to avoid, and the specific timeline that you are on with your treatment with Treble Health, the sound therapy. You're also including acupuncture in a more holistic view, which is great. For some patients, that's definitely the right thing to do. And in your case, it seems to be. What are your last words for the community here?
Last words. Again, you control your tinnitus. Your tinnitus does not control you. This is not magic. This is actual physiological changes that you're going to work hard and you're going to make in your life. And I'm only about 4 months out at this point. So I'm going to continue my sound therapy and I'm going to continue all my tools to really, really solidify the work that I've done and not let it slip. But there is hope. this is doable, and, you know, better days are ahead for everyone.
We're really happy for you, and thank you for sharing your story here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm happy to do it.